Hi everyone, welcome back to the Explorers Geography channel, and for you newbies, welcome. I'm your host, Marcel Van Hemert. I just wanted to thank you all for 100 subscribers. Now, this is going to be a different kind of video in general. I'm going to monologue a little bit here because I'm very passionate about this topic. With this very special video, I wanted to answer a question that seems to impede people's knowledge of geography everywhere. It's a very simple question to ask and a very simple question to answer. Why is geography important? Well, allow me to start right here. 7.6 billion. That's a big number, but I start there for a reason. That's 7.6 billion people, and that's the number of people who call this planet home. These 7.6 billion people live on 6 continents and anywhere between 190 to 211 countries, depending on who you ask. They speak thousands of languages, from the English and Spanish that I speak to some of the native Alaskan languages we discussed in the Alaska episode, and languages like Jungha, the official language of Bhutan, a small Himalayan mountain kingdom. They come from a number of faith backgrounds, such as Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, to smaller native religions like animism. These people come from all backgrounds, races, religions, and creeds, but we're all human. I'll bring it back to 7.6 billion. That's 7.6 billion humans living on this floating rock. As science propels humanity forward into tomorrow, it's getting easier than ever to contact people all around the world. Think about it. As I'm filming this in the middle of a pandemic, and we are, as of May 2020, under a lockdown, when this is over, I could theoretically get on a flight to London, and as long as I had my documentation, I could hang out in England for a week or so. Another example, as many of you know, I will be attending the University of Miami beginning in the fall of 2020. As I'm filming this in May of 2020, I've already met classmates from half of the US states, Lebanon, Brazil, Palestine, Egypt, Ecuador, Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago, Curacao, Canada, and a myriad of other places. These people are very much dictated by who they are, and a big part of that is where they come from. So many people think geography is just memorizing states and countries and capitals and rivers and oceans and highest points, and I'm not saying it isn't, but geography is really so much more. Geography is the base of a lot of things we like to study. Take, for example, history. It's the most obvious, and that's why we're going to start here. Geography determined where the first civilization sprung up, in the fertile valleys of the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. Geographic features have divided civilizations for centuries, and even today, some of these features form borders, either culturally or politically, and most of the time, both. Geography has proven itself to play an essential role in history's happenings. Had Napoleon studied geography, he would have known it was a bad idea to march on Moscow in the winter. Perhaps the Americans would have fared better in the Vietnam War if they had had a better idea as to the terrain of Vietnam, as the North Vietnamese used the geography of the area as an advantage against the Americans, which the US could have neutralized if they had a better knowledge of the difficult and dense terrain of Southeast Asia. But take it one step further into literature. Authors like William Faulkner, James Joyce, Leo Tolstoy, and Mark Twain have used the geography of their area as settings for their stories. Faulkner's stories are seen as the hallmark of literature in the American South. He's specifically from the state of Mississippi. James Joyce has long been considered one of the best writers of Ireland and her culture. Tolstoy's captivating novels tell of life in Russia in the 19th century, and Twain wrote stories all about life up and down the Mississippi River. Without a basic understanding of the geography of these authors, we close ourselves off to the treasures they've left to humanity. And who could forget about science? Science is the study of the planet we live on itself. It allows us to learn how the mountains we study have come to be, how these oceans became so wide, and how the continents came to be, and what kind of features we study in the rocks and plants that we've come to know. Science and geography come together to work cohesively to show us some of the keys to the world. All of these subjects, though, are connected by one thing, and that's us. Geography, as you can tell by now, is not just a study of places on a blue and green sheet of paper we refer to as a map. Geography is, rather, what makes us human, and the study of us humans and where we come from. Geography is a key link we have to each other. Geography is also a key for global understanding and tolerance. For example, let's look to one of the most conflict-ridden areas in the world, the Middle East. When taken at face value, all you see is just lines on the map. But look deeper, and you'll find the reason for all of the tension in the area. Ever notice how those lines are rather straight? You can blame Marc Sykes and François-Georges Picot, a British and French pair of representatives who, in 1917, decided it was a good idea to divide the Arab lands between Britain and France. They were under the very false impression that, well, all of the people in the area were just one big Arab happy family. Spoiler alert, they weren't. Instead, Sykes-Picot completely ignored the cultures and values of Arab people and divided tribes and families in arbitrary lines rather than the self-determination the Arab people had been promised. This ignorance towards that part of the world has significantly worsened relations in and with the Middle East from the Western perspective. Once again, geography is all about the people with whom we share this planet. As many of you know, I have what I consider to be the fortune and pleasure to live in the capital of Latin America, Miami, Florida, which is a very international city located only about 4 hours outside the House of Mouse, the happiest place on earth, the Walt Disney World Resort in Lake Buena Vista or Kissimmee or Orlando or Central Florida. People put it in tons of places. But when I'm at Walt Disney World, I always try to take a day to spend some time at Epcot, which is my favorite theme park. Up until last October, every time I would go, I always begged my parents to stay for the fireworks display and the show called Illuminations, Reflections of Earth. Any of you who have ever seen Illuminations knows that it takes place on the World Showcase Lagoon, surrounded by the 12 international pavilions that encompass the World Showcase. And in the middle of the lagoon lies a sphere, which of course is representative of the globe. As you watch, the sphere lights up into a world map and you begin to see the people and places this park is dedicated to. Now, I don't often get emotional when talking about Disney World or watching a show or listening to certain songs, but as I've grown in my love and knowledge of geography, I started to become emotional while watching Illuminations because I've begun to realize why it is that I study geography and why it is that I love geography. It's because of the people. It's because knowing more about where someone is from forms a deeper connection to them. It also makes you more cultured and gives you a deeper understanding of the world. To quote Michael Jackson and a bunch of other superstars, we are the world. And in a different sense, it's true. The reason why we study geography is for us, the people. Well guys, that's all I've got for you today. I had to stop myself here because I love to ramble on and on about this topic. But tell me in the comments or reach out to me. I want to know why it is that you got involved with geography and why you think geography is important. I'm genuinely interested to hear from my fellow geographers out there. And for those of you a little less geographically inclined, do you want to learn more about geography? I mean, I sure hope so. And as always, reach out to me if you're interested in finding out more. If you like what you saw today, please like, share, comment, subscribe, anything you want to do, please do it. I'm Marcel Van Hemert. Remember to keep exploring your world.